Hello, everyone. My name is Holly Jenvey, and I am the incoming Vice President of Events for DePaul PRSSA. IBM Z and DePaul Center for Data Science have teamed up to produce the Hackathon 2021, an event taking place May 7th through 10th. The hackathon was designed for students, alumni, and their friends to leverage space data while working in teams to solve everyday problems. I had the opportunity to speak with IBM's Melissa Sassi to learn how the event was produced, as well as how students from all academic backgrounds can be successful. But first, Sassi and myself discussed her unique career at IBM, as well as how it is impacting communities across the world. Let's get to the interview. You're the Chief Penguin of IBM. Can you describe your role to our listeners and how you came up with the name?
Yes, I am the Chief Penguin of IBM Z. I head up student and entrepreneur experience globally within the IBM Z division of IBM. And I came up with that title. It was a little bit of a fear of missing out, to be honest with you. It's a little FOMO moment of mine. I currently work at IBM, obviously, and I came over from Microsoft. And I had a colleague there that called herself the Chief Ninja Cat. And then I stumbled upon this guy who had this Twitter account called Thready the T-Rex. And I was like, oh, I need to have a fun animal title, but I was working in a team that was just, a little bit different than the engineering team. And it just wasn't quite the right, moment for me to come up with this crazy, wild animal title. To make a long story short, I moved over to IBM and I happened to take a trip to Pakistan. And while I was in Karachi, I met this woman named Jihan Araf, and she heads up the Nest.io, which is an incubator funded by Google. And she calls herself the big bird, the big bird of the nest. And I'm like, wow, we got a ninja cat, we got a big bird, and we've got a T-Rex. And I still don't have anything. And I thought, what could I be? Now I've got this new role, I've got this new job, this new company, I'm working with developer advocacy. So it was, something that could be appropriate to, come up with something fun and crazy. Since the penguin is the symbol of open source technology, and IBM owns Red Hat, which is really on the forefront of open source technology, I thought, okay, a penguin is the kind of symbol of open source. That's my thing, but I couldn't be the queen because maybe there'd be a king. So I kind of stole a little bit from my friend Donna Sakar at Microsoft and her, Chief Penguin title, and Chief Ninja Cat title, and came up with the Chief Penguin. So there it is.
Sassi explained that her interest in technology was sparked by the lack of access people have to computers and how they did not have essential digital skills. She referenced how helping her children in Tunisia expanded to lifelong work, which would span to many countries.
It put a fire in me to say, wow, so many young people are being left behind, and so many, even adults, are being left behind because they don't have the basic skills to be online and to know how to transform their lives through technology. And I know the critical role that digital skill building plays in being competitive, being part of the future of work. So I started seeing a shift in my career that was focused on building internet connectivity, building energy access. Landed a new job at Microsoft, did that for a couple of years, and then had the opportunity to come over to IBM and create a new startup program, which involved me actually creating my own job. It didn't exist before. And then kind of turning that on its head and creating my second role at IBM, which is all about student engagement in tech, learning tech skills, being prepared for the future of work, plus my startup responsibilities, which is all about inspiring and empowering early stage founders, early stage startups with the skills and the access to tech that they need to transform their businesses.
Sassi then discussed why DePaul was the perfect place to host the hackathon.
Oh, so I kind of feel like DePaul chose me and I chose DePaul. It was really exciting. Well, I've run a lot of hackathons. I also am the CEO and founder of my own nonprofit. It's called Mentor Nations. We have a robotics lab, an IoT lab, and a co-working space in North Africa and Tunisia. And we've taught tens of thousands of young people to code in 12 countries. As part of that work, I've run a lot of hackathons, been a judge, done my own thing. We do a lot of things with the US Embassy in that country. So it's funded by the US Department of State and worked with a lot of different things. And I brought some of those skills and that knowledge into IBM. A lot of other people have worked on hackathons, and I'm not the first to do a hackathon, and I might not even be the best hackathon expert, but kind of after doing Code the Curve, an ideathon, and a number of different things, kind of work got around that, hey, Melissa knows a thing or two about coding camps and hackathons. And I think they also know that I'm very passionate about them. I like doing them. As one of my colleagues came to me from our corporate social responsibility team, and she had been working with DePaul for some time on a number of other activities. And she came to me and said, I hear you know a thing or two about hackathons. DePaul would like to do something within the data science team. Do you think you can guide us? I'm like, fun fact, I'm actually writing a book about how do you run virtual hackathons and what are some of the best practices and templates and tools and things that you can use. So I'm like, I'm happy to, kind of present my outline and kind of talk through it with DePaul. And then we can see if there are, any synergies. And they were like, okay, well, it looks like you know how to run a hackathon. So will you do a hackathon with us? And I, overwhelmingly said, yes. And we started pulling our team together, came up with the theme, which is space technology and space data. Ended up pulling some speakers from NASA to come in, which was really, really exciting for me. I went to space camp when I was a kid in Huntsville, Alabama. And, I never thought that I'd be working in a space like this where I'd like email like a senior person from NASA and he'd respond to me within like 30 seconds and yeah, I'll have a meeting with you. I'm like, wait, what? I'm from this small town in Missouri, where a lot of my classmates didn't go to college. My parents didn't graduate from college. I'll be the first doctor in my family. And, having an opportunity to collaborate with the amazing students at DePaul, plus the amazing professors and alumni, like how can you say no? How can you say no to that? And then selfishly bring in, IBM technology to help, inspire students to learn new skills, because not everybody's been exposed to all of the different technologies that are out there. So I think the students will have an opportunity to learn new things, explore career opportunities, and hey, maybe even land some prizes, which involves, two internships and mentorship, not only with IBM, but some folks at NASA have agreed to provide mentorship as well, which is pretty cool in my mind.
So my last question would be through this hackathon, and I think with technology in general, how can students change the world and accomplish with data in their daily lives that really hasn't been accomplished before?
So as part of this hackathon, we will be providing a number of potential problems to solve that haven't been solved yet. And that doesn't mean you have to choose one of these problems. You can come up with your own problem statement. We got these ideas from NASA, actually. So how cool is that, that there are all these wicked challenges that nobody's been able to solve yet. And students have an opportunity to come in and look at these problems, look at this data, and do something with it, whatever you think is the right thing to do. So it's not just about here's a problem, go solve it. It's, hey, here's a bunch of stuff you could do. What do you want to go out and do? And I think that takes entrepreneurial spirit. It takes storytelling. It takes problem solving and critical thinking, teamwork and collaboration. It requires adaptability. So if you think about all of the professional development skills that you need to be prepared for your career, these are all of the things that you have an opportunity to practice in a hackathon, put on your resume, and talk about what you've done, especially if you win.
That was Melissa Sassi, the Chief Penguin at IBM. Be sure to register for the Hackathon 2021 at the DePaul Center for Data Sciences website and check back on DePaul PRSSA social media for more updates. This is Holly Jenvey, and thank you for watching.